Hello everyone, welcome to Exploring Tarot. I'm Sandi and this is the wrap-up video for June. This video is a little bit delayed because at the very beginning of July I rushed off on my holiday. I have a summer holiday for the whole of July, sorry. And I rushed off to see my family for 10 days, so I did not have time to film the wrap-up beforehand, and now I've just come back from my visit yesterday evening actually. So I'm still a little bit tired, still doing some unpacking and stuff. Doing lots of laundry. I hope you can't hear the machine in the background. But anyway, June was spent, if we start with memories, it felt like when I sat down to start thinking about June this morning, I was like, oh, it's all a blur. I can't remember a thing I did in June because I've just been away and experienced so much now the last 10 days. But yeah, June was spent at work. It was the last month at work before the summer holiday. Very quiet at the library at the moment. Most of the students have gone home for the summer, and yeah, not much to do there. But we did have some fun. We did go for like a from work. We had a recreational day, so we went out for the day in a bus, going to these special like a museum and some special gardens and stuff like that, and that was really nice. I also took a trip with a friend of mine to the botanical gardens here nearby, and I will insert some pictures here so that you can see some of the really cool stuff that I got to see there at the botanical gardens. Another thing that happened that was really cool in June was that my library owns a signed copy of a Swedish translation of The Lord of the Rings, and the copy had been gifted to one of our previous I think professors at the university, maybe, or was it could have also been the head librarian at the time at our library, and it's been gifted to him by Tolkien himself, and it was signed, and I got to hold this copy of the book, which is normally behind lock and key in the head librarian's room. And it was such a special thing for me. I am a huge Tolkien fan, and it was an amazing experience getting to hold this book that Tolkien himself has held at some point. And I will post a picture here of the signature because it's just so beautiful. But yeah, that was one of my definitely one of the highlights of June for me. In June overall here in Finland, we had a heat wave. It was so warm. I think the warmest day was around 32 degrees Celsius, which is a lot for me. And for anybody else here in Finland. But because we then got used to the heat, now when we're back down to, 20 odd degrees, it almost feels cold. But no, I definitely am most comfortable with degrees around 20 to 22 degrees. That's like the sweet spot for me when it comes to summertime. Something like YouTube about my own channel this month is that I spent a lot of time doing this hashtag, this VR called hashtag 22 faves, and if you haven't seen them yet, they are very long videos, and in 2 parts, because being me, I was a bit cheeky, and I couldn't just pick one card for each major, so it ended up being a little bit of a, you know, exploration of all my favorite majors, and then trying to wheedle them down to just a few, or one if I was able to favorite. And yeah, 2 very long videos that you could check out if you felt so inclined to. So moving on to, I think I might, yeah, I'll show you a couple of Etsy purchases that I made and that I really am happy about. The first one is my new favorite jewelry. I bought this beautiful necklace on Etsy, and it's a real acorn, and like the day after I purchased this, she posted these earrings, also acorn earrings, and they're just so pretty. I couldn't resist, and you know me, I'm an earring person. I very rarely wear necklaces anymore, so I just had to get these as well, so I did. And they are now my absolute faves. I use them almost every day. Another thing that I got from Etsy last month, it was this really cool green moonstone that I had never heard of before, and it's just so gorgeous. And this is the biggest crystal that I own to date, because crystals are expensive, guys. I would love a huge one, but this one, I just love it. I love it so much. And from the same shop at the same time, I also got 2 moss agates, because they are my favorites at the moment. So here's a palm stone that I got, and then I also got a little pendant, a moss agate pendant that I really enjoy. Thrift store finds. I did quite a lot of thrifting in June, and I won't show you everything because most of it is just, you know, boring clothes and stuff. But I will insert a picture of this beautiful lamp that I found in one of the thrift stores nearby, and I was so happy when I found it. It was expensive, but really happy that I got it. And the second thing I'm going to show you is this box that I found in a thrift store a little bit further away from here, and it's a handmade box made in the 1940s by some random person around here. It's from a local village, I think. It says on the inside of the box, on the inside of the lid, to be specific, where it was made and what year it was made, and I had to get it. It was just so special. So yeah, those 2 are the ones that I'm most happy about regarding the thrift store finds this month. Another thing that arrived actually, now that I almost forgot, is the thank you cards for my Etsy shop. So I'm so close to being ready to open up my Etsy shop, and these took a while to get in. I did not realize it was going to take that long, so that's why my shop hasn't opened yet, really. Because for me, I'm a little bit silly in that way. I felt like it's felt like I can't open up my shop before everything is finished and ready. I mean, I'm sure I could have just written thank you cards by hand for the first month or something, but I just really wanted to wait for these cards. So this is the front of the card, which I really love. And then on the back, we've got a little bit of text and like a little thank you and a little note there. The text became a bit smaller than I wished for it to be, but it's too late now. I've got 500 of these, so that's that. Anyway, let's move on. The new decks for the month. I'm just going to show you like this because I really can't be asked to turn the camera around this time. So the first one I'm going to show you is back up a little bit. So me and Krista from Crochet Witch Tarot, previously Adventures in Metaphysics, she and I had a little bet this month that we weren't allowed to buy any decks this month of June. However, we had some caveats. We had a few rules. We weren't allowed to buy like mass market decks just because we wanted to, but we were allowed to trade or buy out of print decks if we happened to find one that was on our wish list from before. And we weren't allowed to, and we were allowed to get, if you know, an out of print deck or a deck is about to get sold out or something like that. And we were allowed to back Kickstarters. But everything else was off the table. And I believe that Krista lost. But we haven't broached the subject about the loser having to buy the other person the tarot deck that they caved on. I'm not going to hold you to it, Krista. Don't worry about that. Anyway, it was just a fun thing that we did. So, but still, having gathered together all of the decks that I received in June, I mean, most of them were ordered in May, so it doesn't break the rules. But I still have 5 new decks for the month of June, even though I had a no deck buying month. So how does that work? Well, anyway, the first one is Wisdom of the Kailiach, or however you pronounce that, Kailiach. I will show you the book so you can see what it's spelled like. It didn't come in a box, but it came in this book and in this little bag. I'm gonna make a new bag for this, and I think I might trim it as well and trim off the white borders. Anyway, I ordered this back in May, I believe, and it arrived in June. And I have made a walkthrough of this, so I'm just going to show you a few of the cards like this, and you can find a link to the walkthrough of this deck down below in the description. It's a beautiful, beautiful deck made by Jane Brydeson, and I've been using this oracle quite a lot this month, or in June. And it's a gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Really enjoying it. And I've actually gotten a message from Jane saying that she might be coming out with a guidebook, a bigger guidebook for this one, where she writes a bit more about these ladies that she's got here. And these are just so gorgeous. So gorgeous. I'm so happy about this deck, and I will be working with it a bit more, I think, in autumn once that's here. Another deck that arrived this month was a gift from Krista, and that was her Anecdotes Tarot, which is a tarot deck made based on the music of Joanna Newsom. And I am a huge Joanna Newsom fan, and when Krista heard that, she decided to give me this deck, after she decided, of course, that she didn't want it anymore. The artwork is just so pretty. I adore... It's easier to show it like this, isn't it? I just adore this artwork in so many ways. I've trimmed this, and Krista trimmed it before me, so this deck was absolutely huge. I mean, it's still quite large. If you know, I can barely get my hand around the cards as it is now. But yeah, really love this deck. Haven't had a chance to work with it much yet. I really want to do like a deep dive study of this deck, and listen to all of the music that comes along with each card. So yeah, this was the Anecdotes Tarot. Let me just show you my favorite card from this deck, and then we can move on to the next one, because one of my favorite cards, this one I have to show as well. I love this card so much, the Five of Cups. Okay, so this is the Temperance. Love this card so much. And then the Hanged Woman. Love it so much. So that was the Anecdotes Tarot by, oh my gosh, I've forgotten her name. Eve Lepowski is the creator of the Anecdotes Tarot. So, the next deck that I got in June was the Tree Whisper Oracle, the Secret Garden edition by Maggie Black. And I've also made a first impressions walkthrough of this on my channel, that I can link down below for you if you want. It's a really unique deck. I got this, when I got this, it was the last copy that she had in stock. So that's why I was allowed to get it, despite our little bet. And this is such a cool deck. The Mags have been walking around in the forest around where she lives and taking pictures of the trees, and created these images where she mirrors the image, and it creates these really cool faces in the trees most of the time, and it's just so adore. It's just so cool, and I really adored this deck. And I've also spoken to Mags, and she said that she might be writing a guidebook for this, because it arrived without a guidebook, because it's meant to be read intuitively. But I think it would be really cool to still have a little bit of insight of what she thought about, and what why she chose these keywords for each card. So yeah, that was the Tree Whisperer Oracle, the Secret Garden edition by Maggie Black. And I will link her channel down below as well, because she's also a tarot tuber. The next two decks that I'm going to show you, I haven't actually filmed a walkthrough of yet, but I will at some point as soon as I have time. But the first one is a deck that I bought both of these I've bought secondhand. And the first one is the 100 Ink Animals Oracle deck. And it's this diddy little deck, thick but small. And I'm so happy about this deck. It's just ink drawings of animals, and then you get a really cool keyword underneath. The author or the creator of this deck has really chosen some really cool keywords, and the guidebook, you know, justifies all of the keywords and also teaches you a little bit more about this particular animal's behavior. So the owl card has silence as a keyword instead of, you know, the classic wisdom, for example. And we also get some pretty different animals in this deck. However, I did find that some animals that I usually like to see in an animal oracle deck were missing, and instead we had like 2 or 3 different bats or several different moths, for example. You know, which kind of irked me a little bit, because we don't have a regular squirrel, for example. I think that we also have several different frogs and toads. Here we have one of the moths, sunset moth. Toxic is the keyword for sunset moth. So yeah, cool deck. But even though there's 100 cards, I still feel like there are some animals, some important animals missing from this deck. So yeah, that was the 100 Ink Animals by Jessica Gowling. And last but not least, I got the Lua Tarot secondhand this month from Kasha. I almost forgot her name. Kasha from the Tarot Map over here on YouTube as well. And the Lua Tarot is a black and white, gorgeous looking deck. Again, I'm going to show you like this. And besides the 100 Ink Animals, I think this is my only black and white deck. I believe so. It's a found art deck, or like a collage deck. And gorgeous in so many ways. I still haven't looked it through properly, because as I said, I like to do first impression videos. Oh, this Queen of Wands, look at her. So I'm still a little bit I haven't, like I said, looked through this deck still or properly, but oh, some of these cards, look at this Nine of Wands. And yeah, the Hermit from this deck is one of my all-time favorite hermits, actually. And I knew about this Hermit before I bought the deck, because I had seen the walkthrough online. The Hermit should be quite high up, because I used it or showed it in my 22 faves video. Spoiler alert. There she is. Look at her. She's so good. I love her. I love her. Anyway, so the Lua Tarot. Look forward to a walkthrough of this pretty soon, I hope. And yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous deck. Thank you so much to Tarot Map for selling me her deck. So excited to have it. And gorgeous, gorgeous box. And the Lua Tarot is by Marie Bento, for anybody who wonders. Oh yeah, I forgot. There is still one more deck that I got in June. And that is the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud. And when I received this deck, it was really banged up for some reason. It was brand new, but it was really banged up. So Book Depository is sending me a new deck. I had hoped for a refund, but they sent me a new deck instead. Fair enough. I will have a spare copy for when this one gives up. But I trimmed this deck to get rid of the banged up edges, and I edged it in this nice mustardy color that goes like, it's like exactly the same color as the edge there. But yeah, so I trimmed it. It was a difficult trim, so now we are automatically moving on to the deck mods of the month, of which I already showed you the Anecdotes Tarot as well. I just realized. And I only have these two that I modded in the month of June. So one of them was this mod, which was a difficult one. It took me like 3 hours to mod this because it was a bit awkward in size because it was so big. It was too big for my trimmer, and I had to kind of eyeball it a little bit, and yeah. But anyway, I also trimmed this. This was a very quick trim. Decided to just chop off the borders of these two sides, exactly like flush with the picture. But then this border here is ripped on all of the cards, so it's got this ripped effect, and I couldn't cut in to where the ripped effect isn't, because then it would have cut off some of the titles. So instead I decided to leave the ripped edge on here on most of the cards. It doesn't bother me. It looks okay, I think. Maybe once I've read with it enough, or when I get the other deck, I might trim off the border and like this side, and as well as the titles, and just have a completely title and borderless version. And see if maybe that is something that I prefer. But this deck is super lovely. I am still getting to know it. I think I have also made a walkthrough of this deck that I will link down below for you if you're interested. And yeah, super lovely artwork. I love Brian Froud's artwork, and the guidebook is fantastic. But yeah, this is how the trim ended up, and the back's pretty much the same as untrimmed. But anyway, that was the new decks in my collection for the month of June. So let's move on to new deck bags that I've crocheted or made this month. The first one I'm going to show you is the deck bag. I'm going to show you 2 bags that I made just for myself. I don't really get to do that much anymore because I just keep crocheting for my shop. But this is the bag that I made for the Anecdotes Tarot, which I am really happy with how this ended up. Made it like a tuck box style with a flap this way, and it's for the Anecdotes Tarot that I showed you just previously, just a few moments ago. And really happy with the colors that I chose, and then I decided to embroider on the little flap here, which I just really enjoyed. The next one I actually made the bag itself for this deck in May, but I ended up not liking it, so I unraveled some of it and remade it, and that's the bag that I made for the Victorian Fairy Tarot. So previously it was a drawstring bag, but I noticed that I had made it too tight, so the deck started to have a little bit of a bow to it, and I got really upset. So I took the deck out, left it out of the bag under some books. The bow is still a little bit there, but I instead decided to unravel the drawstring part and make a tuck box flap bag instead. So now it's got this little flap that you close with the button there, and then I made this little border around the edge and fastened the bluebells as a bow on top of the pouch instead. I will put a picture of how it looked like, what it looked like before here, and then you can compare the results. So this was for the Victorian Fairy Tarot that has, bluebells on the back, and yeah, my favorite deck at the moment, or maybe perhaps ever. And it still smells amazing. It had this amazing scent when it was sent to me by this lovely lady in the Netherlands that I bought it from. And yeah, so happy with this bag now. Other bags that I made, I've had a bit of a slow crocheting month. I think it's because it's summer. I'm not huge on crocheting in the summer for some reason. It's more of an autumn thing to do in winter. But anyway, I made another one of the Forest Fable pouches. This one's a little bit bigger, and it's a wrap bag, so you can change the size of the bag with how tightly you wrap it. Actually, all of these are wrap bags. Another one is a blue, like ombre bag with some silver beads, matte silver beads. And this one is, yeah, I really kind of like how this one turned out. It's a bit mysterious. And the last one I'm going to show you is this this one, also a wrap bag, made from this colorful yarn. Has a bit of everything in here. I think the yarn was called Heather, so it's got like these rusty yellows and oranges, and then it's like got these greens, and it just transfers into this lovely purple and pink and then blues. And yeah, I think this one could go with a very naturey deck. And then I've got some wooden beads and a tassel on there as well. So those are the bags that I've made this month. Right, so now then, I haven't had a lot of time to watch any YouTube this month either. I have so much to catch up on, so I don't have any special YouTube mentions this month. Except for the things that I have been watching are, there's a channel called Old Things Never Die? Something like that. And it's basically a person who restores old things, and it's just so relaxing and satisfying to watch. So yeah, that's something that I've been watching in the evenings to wind down a little bit and think about something else. The only other thing that I think I want to mention in this video, which is going to be a very short one it seems, is the two decks that I've backed on Kickstarter. And the first one is the Crystal Forest, which I'm going to show you here now. And it's a deck that I've been thinking about for quite a long time, but I missed out on the first edition. So this is the second edition with some added cards that I am really looking forward to. And the second Kickstarter is still actually active, so you should go on ahead and head over there and back this. It's the second edition of the Coastal Curiosities Oracle, and she's added a bunch more cards, and she has written more in the guidebook about the different symbols that she's chosen for all of the cards. So I missed out on the first edition, and if you did too, go ahead and head on over to Kickstarter and back the Coastal Curiosities, because this is going to be a really good one. I'm so excited about it, and I really, really hope that it's going to get funded. Fingers crossed it will reach its goal. But yeah, it's that's the two ones that I've allowed myself to back this month in June. And I don't have any new wishlist decks. Well, I do, but since I wasn't allowed to buy anything in June, I think I'm gonna save them till July. I haven't actually written them down anywhere here now. I feel so unprepared for this June wrap up. I apologize. But anyway, I think they might actually be so many. I might do a completely separate, like a new wish list video. Now that I have time off, I have more time on my hands to do some videos. So I might do a new and refreshed wishlist video instead of including it in this month's wrap up. But anyway, that was that for my June month wrap up. Yeah, I'm looking on my, if I looking down here, I'm trying to read through my list of what I wanted to mention, and I think that is it. So thank you so much for tuning in and watching my video, taking an interest in my life, I suppose. I really hope that you all had a wonderful June and that you will have an even better July. Thank you so much for watching. Please take care of yourselves and be well, my friends. I'll see you in my next video.